Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming at you with another War Thunder video. What we're doing now is we're starting what we call our basic tutorial videos, and this is just the first one. And the one we're going to be talking about today is takeoff and landings. Takeoff and landings. Okay, so first thing before we even begin, you need to have your controls set up. Go to your controls, set them up, make sure your either joystick or mouse and keyboard or whatever all have the exact controls that you're looking for. And don't be overwhelmed, because there's a lot of controls in there that I never ever use. So don't be overwhelmed. Just find the ones that you feel are going to be necessary for you. So and then use those. Okay, so now I'm using keyboard and mouse today, and we're flying in realistic mode. There's 3 different modes. You have the arcade mode, which basically dumbs down your plane. Almost all planes fly the same exact way in arcade mode. And then you have realistic mode, which each plane has its own unique characteristics. And today we're going to fly realistic. It puts real physics onto your plane, so that yes, you can rip off a wing, or you can do all kinds of crazy maneuvers in realistic that you really can't do in arcade. Arcade kind of, like I said, dumbs your plane down to a point where you're just pointing and shooting like a video game. Okay, so there's multiple ways you can play. You can play in the cockpit, where you have, a realistic viewpoint, and you've got your instruments in front of you where you can fly this way. Or you can fly with a virtual cockpit. And a virtual cockpit basically means you don't see your plane, you don't see your windscreen or crosshairs, you just see a target reticle. And this is kind of a ridiculous way to play. I don't recommend it. I mean, it's just silly. Now I play third person, just because War Thunder has invested so much money in building these different planes so that they look really good, and and then the way you paint them, like I've added the red and the blue onto there, and of course the Berlin Express. Okay, enough saying all that. You're sitting on the tarmac or a carrier, okay? But we're going to do the tarmac today. I think I might pull out a carrier as the second part of this video, so that might be part 2. I'm just idling, and as you can see, my thrust in the upper left-hand corner says brake, right? Okay, well, my brakes are on. So when I throttle up, I can go up to 100%, but you can go beyond 100%. You can go into what's called War Emergency Power, or WEP. Some planes don't have that. Some planes have 110%, or some planes don't even have that. You're going to want to use your 100% or more to take off. WEP is usually good to take off, because what WEP does is it's like you're overclocking your engine. You're over your standard military power, and you're injecting. If some planes have injection engines, when you use that, what it tends to do is cause your radiator to overheat, and then your plane engine will seize up if you use WEP too long. You'll have an indicator that'll show you your temperature of your radiator, but you don't need to worry about that right now, because you're brand new, just starting off, getting ready to take off, so you don't have to worry about your temperature. Okay, next thing you've got to worry about is flaps. Okay, you have a variety of different levels of flaps. Like right there, I'm putting it on takeoff flaps. And if you can see the flaps maneuvering, you might not be able to see them. Actually, I don't think the flaps, they didn't move at all. Let's raise the flaps. Okay. Did you see them move? Okay. Well, what that is it's going to be an extension of the wing. And in one of my videos, one of my tutorial videos, I'm actually going to go over the theory of flight, about how air moves over your wing and what impact that has on your aircraft. Well, the flaps will increase the amount of drag that your plane creates. So it actually slows your plane down, but at the same time, it increases the lift of your plane. So the wind going over your wing actually lifts your plane up into the air, but the problem is it slows you down. So my recommendation is to raise your flaps, have no flaps, military throttle, point just over the horizon. That way, when your plane picks up enough speed, the tail will lift up off the ground and you will be flying straight along the ground. You're not in the air. You don't have enough lift yet. But the tail will have enough lift because it's light. And when you hit about 120 miles per hour, that's when you apply your takeoff flaps and you will see yourself launch into the air. Once you get into the air, you're going to want to raise your gear, raise your flaps, and you will have obtained a takeoff. Here we go. Let's go. We're going to throttle up. I'm at war emergency power. Don't want to point too low to the ground. See, there's my tail lifted. Because if you point too low, the propeller will hit. Waiting for 120 miles per hour approximately. Apply takeoff flaps. Nose up slightly. I'm in the air. Raise my gear. Raise my flaps because I don't need them anymore. I'm in the air. I'm still at, now you notice my water temperature is 248 because I'm at wet. Now I'm going to let it go. Go to 100%. You have an oil temperature, water temperature. And now we're in the air. Closed canopy, all that cool stuff. Alright, now as promised, what we're going to do is I went ahead and grabbed a carrier plane because I thought about this because I wanted to show you not only landing on an airstrip but also landing on a carrier. So I swapped planes out. This is an F4F. So now we're flying around, right? And we've got to keep our eyes on the airfield. There's the airfield we just took off from. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do like a peacetime landing, then I'm going to do a carrier landing, and then what we'll do is a under distress landing, like a emergency landing. And a lot of times the emergency landings are what you're going to see people use to take points in like arcade battle. You're going to try to drop down on the airfield, capture it real quick, and then get off. But that's not what we're going to do the first time. The first time is going to be like textbook, how you do it. Okay, you go parallel to the airstrip, right? Keeping your eyes on it. You drop your throttle to 70%. Okay? So now your airspeed is starting to bleed off a little bit. You're bringing your nose down. Don't need to bring it down too much. Just kind of gradually bringing it down. Now, before I go into my U-turn here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my throttle again. Let's drop it down to about 50. It's a good spot for a U-turn. Nice, gentle turn. Nothing too crazy. Get lined up with the... Whoa, okay. Get lined up with the airstrip. Okay, it looks like we've got a good position right here. I'm going to leave it at 50, okay? Leaving it at 50. That's not lined up yet. That's why I'm going a little bit more to the right. Okay, and then now that our throttle's low enough, we're going to go ahead and drop the gear. Drop my throttle down to 30. Let myself slow down. Go with landing flaps. See the flaps extending from the wings. This plane has some serious landing flaps. The 30% throttle is not enough to keep me in the air, but it is enough just to give me a little bit extra pull on my way down to the airfield. Now you point kind of at the far end of the airfield. Looks like I might be getting a little bit too low. There we go. There we go. I might hit early. That's all right. Throttle it down to 0. Brake. Put your nose up, because what that does is it kind of forces your tail. You can't necessarily see it, but it forces your tail elevators to go up, and that also acts as kind of an extra brake. Okay, so we're on the ground. Now let's go do a carrier landing. So first, you know me, I raise my flaps, go to 100% throttle or more. Also, if you need to turn while on the ground, use your elevators. Okay, I'm close enough. This is a lighter plane, so I can hit the takeoff flaps or landing flaps. That's all this thing has. Nose up a little bit. Raise your gear. Raise your flaps. We are in the air, and there's a carrier off to our 11 o'clock. That's where we're going to land. So we do still need that lining up. So what we're going to do is we're going to line up. Now remember, on a carrier, you can land with any plane, not just carrier planes like this one is. This one will have a tail hook and it'll hook onto the wire. But if you don't have a tail hook, I recommend landing without your wheels. Okay, don't lower your gear. That way, when you hit the deck, you'll slide a little bit, and then you'll be repaired and allowed to take off. That's a little gamey right there, but sometimes you got to do it, because there's been some missions the only airfield was a carrier. Okay, I'm pretty much lined up. So what I need to do is turn towards the carrier. Yeah, I might have overshot it just a little bit. I lowered my throttle to 70. We're in a good position now where I could actually drop my gear. Okay, and then we can also, we're probably in a good position where I can go to landing flaps. There we go. I'm going to drop my throttle to 50. Keep my nose up. And if you start to drop below the level of the deck, you're going to need to throttle up and bail out. I mean, like, turn to the right, turn to the left. Basically, emergency, get away from the ship. Don't wreck the ship. Don't wreck your plane. It's better to take multiple attempts at this. Tally-ho, there we go. My tail hook's down. As you can see, it's dangling from the tail of the plane. It looks like I've got a pretty good glide angle. Some people would say go ahead and nose down, but I'm saying don't worry about that because you're gonna, whoa, maybe I do need to. Okay, I broke my prop. But the tail hook caught me, kept me from dying, and now I'm gonna be repaired in like 15 seconds. And that's what I was saying about, if you're not a carrier plane, go ahead and just land. Let it slide because you will be repaired. Now the level of repair or the speed of the repair is going to be based on your ground crew, so how much experience you have on the ground crew. Now we're going to do a carrier takeoff because today is takeoff and landings. Here we go. Hopefully this video isn't too crazy long. Same thing, no need for flaps, just throttle it up, weapons, thrust, and just go. And go a little bit to the left so your wing doesn't clip the tower. Nose it up, gear up. There's no need for gear now, you're over water. Okay, we are up. Super easy. Super easy, not difficult at all. Hey, there's another carrier over there. Whoa, dude, what you doing? Okay, I was going too slow. Okay, actually I was going reasonable speed. They've really messed with the flights. Alright, now that we're in the air, what we're going to do is we're going to do a heated or a combat landing on the airfield over there. So imagine you're dogfighting out here with the enemy, and you need to make a combat landing because either you're damaged or you're trying to cap that point, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to come in from an unusual direction. Okay, this looks good. This looks like an unusual direction. Okay, my speed is down, so I'm going to go ahead and drop my gear. Throttle down to almost nothing because I'm using, or actually, yes, nothing. because I'm using the gravity, forward velocity, and the dive to keep me going. So now we're going to put the landing flaps down. That's just going to provide me that little extra lift that I need to get myself landed. Now, do you have to go parallel with the landing strip? No, you can go perpendicular. As long as you can get it down on or in or around the airfield, it'll count as a good landing. A lot of times you hit the landing really fast, you bounce, but I'm going to go ahead and apply brakes, and once I get low enough, I'm going to nose up, because what that's going to do is it's going to slam my tail into the dirt, slowing me down even more. Okay, now I hope that helps understand how to take off and land and different techniques. And I'll catch you on the next video.